Welcome, guys. I've been looking forward to this. Ever since Alex and Laurin said that they were willing to do this, I've been looking forward to it. I did not realize we were going to have this fantastic set, though. And did you all know that these were real lightsabers, actually? Oh. Mm-hmm. We can take all this out. Okay. So good to see you guys. How long have I known Alex and Laurin Fain as a couple?
Over 16 years, yeah.
Over 16 years. So
Yeah.
how long have I known you? So 16 years?
16 years since I was 16.
And since you were like a freshman in high school or sophomore?
Junior, yeah.
Junior. And Alex, do you mind me asking how old you are, Alex?
32.
So if my math is right, you were born just a couple of years before I started here.
That is what I've been told.
Okay. So I've known these folks for a long time. I have loved these folks for a long time. And very excited to talk to them tonight about their testimony of gratitude and why it is that they have gratitude this year. I think I know, but I'm looking forward to hearing what they're going to have to say. But we're going to start with some easy ones at first. Favorite Thanksgiving food, Laurin?
Sweet potato casserole.
Correct. Good job. Absolutely right. All right, Alex.
I think mine's probably my grandmother's chicken and dumplings or pumpkin pie.
Also correct. Great job, both of you guys. Now it's COVID. Are you going to get a chance to gather with everybody, or what's Fain Mafia going to do this year?
We're just in a group text about this today. We're trying to figure all that out and try to find a way to see everybody and celebrate as safely as we possibly can.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to still try to get together.
We're going
but
to
try to do so safely.
Yeah.
Good for you. I can't imagine the Fains not figuring out a way
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
to get together,
Yeah.
especially this year, because
Yeah.
something is different for you guys, and therefore for the whole family this year, as opposed to last year. And I'll let you go ahead and tell us why it's different.
We have a baby this year.
Yes, we do.
Tell me about now. Her full name is Delaney James Fain.
Yes.
Before I ask you about the name, tell me about Delaney. What do we already know about Delaney?
Delaney. She is awesome. She crawls. She's into everything right now. The girl likes to eat, which I don't know where she got that from, but she's got dark eyes like her dad and brown hair, and she has the best little scrunchy nose smile ever.
Yeah.
She's got an easy smile.
Yeah.
Easy
She can
smile.
light up a room.
Yeah.
She's just a good baby. She just, yeah.
Yeah.
Personality-wise, is she a Fain?
She's ornery. If that
Okay.
answers the question, I don't know.
I mean, if you ask a Fain, I'm sure they tell you. I'm sure they tell you that. I mean, yeah, we all know how that goes.
But she's also a Hess.
Yes, she is.
I got you. So her name, Delaney James Fain. Alex, tell me about the significance of that name.
Yeah, so James was my dad's name, and he passed away when I was 19. I'm sure most people here know that, and a lot maybe even knew him. And so we always, Laurin and I, like she said, have been dating since we were 16. So she knew my dad for 3 years, the last 3 years of his life, and we always knew once we got married that if we had children that we wanted to name one of them after my dad. And so even though my sister Kara already did that with James Renner, we decided that we still wanted to pass that on, and so that is why her middle name is James.
It's perfect, too. It's perfect. And we celebrate, I remember dedicating that baby and I'd kind of lump in my throat, all of us did. What was that? Why all of that emotion, you feel like, for that day?
That moment for me made me feel like we'd finally made it.
Yeah, it was a long time coming, it felt like. And we watched a lot of other baby dedications for years, hoping that one day we would get to do that. And so finally having that day that we got to stand in front and show off our baby and dedicate her back to God and to this church that we love. That was awesome.
But it was years in the making.
Yeah.
And I remember, here we are on the platform, the sanctuary. Do you guys remember the conversation we had near that doorway over there that was so tough when had just gotten a pretty significant wave of bad news?
Yeah, we had just gotten a call from our doctor, Dr. Katie Smith, and it was devastating. So.
And kind of alerted you that this was going to be a long process.
It alerted us to.
It had already been a year at that point.
Yeah.
And so Katie was awesome. She's just very, very matter of fact, down to business. She jumped on it for us and started, getting us tested and trying to figure something out. And I actually, it was a Wednesday night, and I was up here for a board meeting, actually a rare Wednesday night board meeting. And Laurin had dropped me off and was coming back to pick me up. And I got in the car to leave the board meeting, and Laurin was sobbing. And Katie had just called and given us really, really bad news, really hard news that we may never be able to conceive, and it was going to be very, very difficult if we were. So, in fact, I remember a conversation we had over here, actually, with you and with my Uncle Tim, who just so strange how it worked out that we were at church when we got that call, that you were here, that Tim was here, and that
we were together.
Yeah, that we were together.
That we were just being up to like kickball or something together.
Yeah. So to get that call from our doctor, Katie Smith, who goes here, who's Pastor Jason's wife, then to have immediately to be able to come in here and to pray with you and with Tim and with each other, and to talk about that. Literally from the second we found out, it has been, being surrounded by people here.
Yeah. And I've heard you say this, that looking back, in those moments, because we have had also conversations about why is this not working when I pray? Like when I pray, why is there not a change in these circumstances? And we've had those discussions, and Alex has for a long time been the person who is so smart in the discussions that I would just alert the whole class. You can either answer or I'm going to call on Alex. And so he's been that guy for a long time with the deep insight, and yet, and Kelly and I remember these days when you would pray the anguished, heartfelt prayers, and you just didn't see the movement that you were aching to see. And so it keep you up at night and give you a lump in your throat without warning. And yet, looking back, I've heard you both say, we didn't think God was working, but God was working. We didn't think God was present, but God was present. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Here we are, it's Harvest Dinner. Mm-hmm. We are obviously grateful for Delaney James, but we also are grateful for hindsight, which allows us to see that God was not, in fact, absent. Can you each talk about something like that?
I remember sitting in our pew and weeping during worship because I couldn't see where God was in all this. Where's the face of God in this devastating time? And now looking back, it was in Margaret Murray counseling us as a couple through infertility. It was our small group who rallied around us and loved us. It was through Katie Smith, who delivered the worst news we've had as a couple, and then being there to deliver Delaney on the best day of our life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you're, I, I mean, Lauren and I have had no shortage of heartache in our lives, just through different things that happen in life to a lot of people, and obviously the death of my dad and things like that. And this was a similar feeling to that, in that there was a lot of grief involved. We had to grieve the picture of how our life was going to look, and especially as you watch it happening to everybody else and for everybody else, and 3-4 years goes by and it's not happening for you. It's really, you are grieving the loss of the child that you desperately want, that you can't have. And I don't mean that to minimize anybody that has lost a child in their experience. I just mean you have this idea of how things are supposed to go, and then when it doesn't, it can be devastating. And so there's a lot of times when it feels hopeless. And I a lot of times will describe that period of time, especially the year or so after we got that call from Katie, that our house felt like it had a cloud over it. It just, Laurin is one of the most happy, bubbly, lovable people that I've ever met. Yeah. And she was not that anymore. It just wasn't there. I know the same is true for me. Not that I'm as lovable as you, but
we can vote on that one.
Yeah. Okay. It's hard to see in the moment, but looking back, it was depression and anger and, a lot of those really negative feelings. And then even before we got pregnant, we were able to kind of start to heal and look back and see how God was involved all along. Like I said, even before. The fact that Laurin switched doctors to go see Katie long before we knew we were going to have trouble, and then that setting up Katie to be able to help us through every single step of the way, and like Laurin said, to be able to deliver Delaney, and the fact that we were at this church when we got the call, and that we were able to have people surround us and pray with us and cheer for us and mourn with us, the whole way. I think it's, in the moment, it's really easy to discount that, but looking back now, it's really easy to see God the whole way along.
I'm going to get you out of here on this one, but I didn't prepare you for this one, so it's going to be kind of from the heart. Tell me something you know about God now. How would you describe this God now, as opposed to how you might have described God 5 years ago?
I think for me, it is very easy to feel alone in a lot of those dark moments, and I think looking back, I can say that I feel like sometimes that's when God is the most present. And I think the other thing, I don't think that God puts bad things in our lives necessarily. I'm not really in the camp of everything happens for a reason. But I have seen multiple times God take really bad situations and bring really good people into them. I say that all the time about the loss of my dad and the people that were there and surrounding me and my family during that time. And if somebody ever asks how I've seen God in my life, that's my answer. Yeah. And this, for me, just deepened that. And this was such a long feeling of hopelessness that it's just so interesting that we could both be feeling that, but then both come out at the other end going like, yeah, that was God, and that was God, and that was God the whole way.
I am amazed by the feeling of numbness I had during this journey sometimes. Sometimes I felt everything, hence the weeping, and then sometimes I felt numb. And I remember when we were healing, I remember thinking during those moments that I didn't feel like I was feeling anything, God was still working in me. And I didn't realize it until I was able to take myself out of it and really start looking in my life and seeing that, God has put these people in my lives, not only in my life with Alex, but all the people in our church. And I can think of Teresa Miller, who came up to me one day and said, I want you to know I see you. I see you in the pew crying, and I'm praying for you.
Beautiful. Love my church. I love that when families bring their kids, most of the time it's their infants up front. After I ask the family the question, all the time I turn around and I'm asking the family of faith, are you also willing to be a part of the Christian upbringing of Delaney James Fain? And I think you heard a good, strong yes that day, and I'm here to say that as for me and my house, we're also going to help out. We for sure want to be a part of her life, of your lives as you steward her as a gift, and appreciate very much you guys being willing to testify to the presence of God, the goodness of God. Love you, and thank you for doing it.
Thank you.